John Ockertell, as I was saying, is our next speaker. Could everyone take their seats, please, because we need to really move this afternoon. We're very, very much over time. Stamp on the cigarettes, put the coffee out. Do whatever you want, but get back here, please, now. Is everyone ready to rock and roll? Good? Okay. John Ockertell is from Phenomena Research Australia, Victoria. And John was born in Papua New Guinea. John left Papua New Guinea in 1970 to take up university studies, army life and a career in aviation. He now lives in Melbourne, and his 25-year interest in UFOs includes 10 years' work with the Victorian UFO Research Society. And John is the director of Aerial Phenomena Research, a collective which investigates strange phenomena. 1997 airspace intrusion near Pine Gap is the topic this afternoon. It appears that in 1997, residents west of Alice Springs reported a UFO north of Pine Gap. I remember that well. And PRA conducted an investigation and collected important evidence for an airspace intrusion, including a video, a possible ground effect site, and reports of cattle and EMS effects. So here's John. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, I'm taking this with me. I'm going to do this on you. Okay. There we go.
This one gets you mark, all right? Everybody can hear it? All right. Good. Thank you very much. I won't be long. I'll shorten my talk to you. I'll get down the main information about the encounter at Pine Gap, and I'd like to go through some basics to start off with, what technology catches up with us. The main thing is I'd like to say thank you for inviting me. It's a great pleasure to be here, especially to members of the UFO Research New South Wales putting on the conference. I think it's important to have these conferences. They're vital to us. It makes us see each other, and it's important to have contact with each other, which we haven't had for the last 20 years. In the last 10 years, we had so many conferences, I don't know what to do with them, but at least we know each other, which is rightly important, rather than fighting each other. Even though fighting goes on, and fighting all that too. But I'd also like to thank Brian and the committee, Wendy and Dudley, for their work communicating, seeing all my letters seem to be lost. So I don't know where Asia's involved in, obviously, but more like me mucking it up. Anyway, to start off with, I'd like to give you a warning. I wanted to just inform you that I'm not trying to please anybody with these lectures. People expect me to please them, so if you don't know what I'm saying, that's tough luck, not my problem. I might also say science is not the final arbitrator in these processes. Science is a tool that's used, a very important tool, a very good tool, but it's just one of many tools. I find human response is just as important as science, but science is the area I work in. However, I'm not a scientist by trade. I'm in the aviation industry, but I use science as my major tool. I don't offer any theories in regards to these sightings. It's up to you to come to that conclusion. I have my own theories, they're personal. And I have no current answers to the UFO phenomenon, even though I've got about 100 theories and possible answers to it. And also, I must also state that research is always ongoing. It never ends, unfortunately. Just when you think you've got a handle on it all comes another encounter and actually throws you apart. The other warnings that I'd like to bring to you is that even though I'm lecturing about a base, it's a very important Australian and American base, not a US base, so I want to warn you that it's illegal to go on the base, so don't go screaming into the area thinking you can do what you like there. You'll get the long arm of the law will land upon your head and you'll end up in the calories very quickly. And don't break into base regulations. You can if you want to, but there's a consequence to that. So unlike when we did Paul Moore and I did crop circles, we've discovered in the past that when we tell an area that's there's a UFO encounter occurs, they'll pull a voucher for it. Next day, everybody's out there trampling over everything, every farmer goes berserk. It's not uncommon, so consequently we tend to keep our sites and locations very quiet because of not so much the general public, us being worried the general public, but just the way people just travel on the ground without consideration of other people. I want to take the first OHP, just to start from the right note. These are things that come in the local papers just to indicate how UFOs are now infiltrating our press, and it's quite common to see things like this. Go to the next one. Even to the stage where our safety things like before. That's a Melbourne cartoon. You can see UFOs in the distance, and this is the other one, which is to do with Sydney, which indicates that we're all it's a common occurrence now to be seen with UFOs. So you can see that it's a good subject now. It's not regarded as being something dirty. So we're on the right track, you know what I mean. There's a lot of vision going through, so I'm going to get started for you now. I'm sorry I didn't bring my laptop computer. It's better resolution, but I think the video here will be ample. My main part of the lecture will be two videos. However, I'll be adding notes to that to explain certain parts of the video itself. That will help you. I might also say you're lucky to see the videos. It took quite a while to get them. They're from an authority in the department, the Army Department. They've been handed out to me through friends. However, they're quite happy to be able to see them. I think it's important for us to see them. I'm not to say that asked me to tell you that in no time was any public or military security breach. So I don't know what that means at all. Now, the introduction video, which I'll get you to start, is done by one of my crews. It's just an introduction. I shouldn't actually probably see this because I'm going to speak author, actually, but I hope it's of good quality. We've just on a CD ROM that's gone to VHS. If you run that, I'll speak over it. As I hit the video operator, I just want to explain to you that as the previous speaker has indicated to you, that the Northern Territory is a very large place. It's very hostile terrain with large distances. And the main thing about the terrain is that people think you can go and find something quite easy and locate objects on the ground or video stuff out there. However, you'll discover when you go out there, if you've ever been out there, it's massive. Now, the main area that we're dealing with is the McDonnell Ranges, and this is not just little hills out the back. These are quite large. They take up to quite a height, as you can see. Very pretty at certain times of the day. The photographers dream out there if you've got the right equipment. These are the McDonnell Ranges looking at different directions. I haven't got the credit for all these photographs, videos and that. So many people have done them. However, you can see from the territory that in front of you now, it is a very complex area with lots of open space and very hard to get around this, as the previous speakers indicated, you've got the right equipment and the right vehicle. Also, around the area that we're concentrating on, which is the Gap area, there's an area where they won't let you on inside. It's gated off. However, looking up, this is looking up towards the west, towards Pine Gap itself. You can see the ridge lines that actually run across in an east-west direction. How high they are, but it's just like a stack of culture lines that work actually create this type of embedded area where they put Pine Gap in. The reason why they put it in there, which is very strange, you think they put it on top. They put it inside for security, but I think the Army system to put everything, you take a higher ground, but in this case, they're actually taking the low ground to hide it. You can see how high the territory is to get around in, so it's very complex. I'm sorry, mate, I should be speaking up, but as I go on, the video's taking its time. Now, the area I'm concentrating on is called R233. It's given R233, mainly because it is designated remote restricted area for aviation, especially for aviation. And I want you to note that it has a flight level restriction, which is for aviators, of 18,000 feet, which is very, very high. The reason for this is not always given. They only don't have to give you all this information, but we believe because of the electromagnetic effects of the equipment on the base, and also they don't want you to get close to the big domes, the radar domes that's in the area. Also, they're monitoring quite a number of satellites in the location at 233, and if you're around radar, it's very dangerous to electronic equipment and to personnel, so if you get in the way of a transmission there or something like that, it can kind of give you a nasty burn, so you've got to be very careful. So they've made it quite high. It's very strange about the area. It has a very small, what we call perimeter zone. If you go to the United States, they lock off gigantic areas. In Australia, it's very strange. I think like it's great big area, so they lock off a very small area. So we do the reverse. And this is Alice Springs, not taken by me. That's the south entrance to Alice Springs. Pine Gap's around the other side, to the right, and the main base is around just to the, as the video will show you, it's just to the right of that main feature. You can see Alice on the top to the right, is the right feature, and the line is going down to the airport to the right, there's a big pushing out our cars out, and the road runs from actually to the south of the airport, and you can see the this is that far out. It's working right, you don't have to pay for the side of the front per day. We get the 1 day for the road. Pine Gap has a restriction to the gap itself, you go to the base. It's industrial dependent on the base itself. So it's very interesting. Now, getting on to video number 5, so I'll just shoot off watch the video while I speak over. The base is called Pine Gap Joint Defence Space Research Facility. Notice the Space Research Facility, CGS R233, and it's been there, they usually code, it's usually called Merino, which is code name, or currently in the Army called JVSRS, is that the way of abbreviating it. He was born in about 1965, since then the development of aviation architecture. It was originally born in 1965 under the control of the DEST, the CIA arm of the Directorate of Science and Technology. Also, I should note, science and technology. People don't realise that the Army's not all about killing people, it's about protecting people. And most of science is, if you look at the statistics, most of science is devoted to killing people. So it's a bit of an all-round statement. But however, a lot of science is devoted to armaments and looking after these armies. This is the area we're putting out to the north. There's a lot of areas that you don't know about. You've got to stumble across into a corridor and you've got the right vehicles. There's radar antennas and arrays and hidden areas all over the place and all of the maps. This is one that's on the standard map that's available. This is a big array of antennas out there. In fact, the funny thing, there's actually marked on the aviation map, it's not a landing field, so some users in the past have tried to use it as a landing field. So it's in the back, actually, there isn't the fun of the landing, the lines might look like fields around. But it is the actual landing field area. This is used for flying, this is a chart used for wheels, so it's used for the land accidents, the LC buildings all the time. It's that's Pine Gap there and doing those Pine Gap. You don't have to have a lot of fish on it, like this is really for the big right there. I noticed that one of that tracks 273 out to is rock running right past, so they don't really care. As long as you don't go over the top of it, they're a bit worried about your emission, emissions. This is not my video. That's Pine Gap there. You'll notice the establishment there. I'm sorry for recording. It's quite a way establishment. The biggest part of the establishment is actually the computer room. It's got standard computer room that do all the tracking and the coordination of the satellites and controls for the stereo. I'll show you why it's so important. Not about Pine Gap models, but I'll show on the nice or some under nice numbers in the reason for it and I'll show you so managing the graph video that comes up there done by myself, it's not very good. It has two major radar zones. They're 110 feet wide, a little bit larger actually. They're located on the side. And in the actual structure, the schematic function structure of the pine gap is divided into many groups and obviously down here because I haven't taken any notes on this. The groups are quite impressive. Schematic functions is what they call the showing the lights there. That's the orbital plane of the Earth around the Sun. That's where you'll have midday every day. If you notice when you come back, pine gap is actually the orbital plane of the Earth's orbital plane around the Sun as we make our orbit around the Sun. Notice the plane itself, so it runs over Mexico and things like that. If you trace and find a lot of American bases, guess where they are? They fall upon this orbital, this actual plane itself. It runs right over the Mexican peninsula type areas where we have all of the Mexican so maybe past aviators that have come to this earth by different type of people have a good reason why those pyramids out there, you see. You notice it comes down here, the accuracy is not very good, so basically I'm going to one of my daughters and she's not getting it back. So I put a picture on it and you can see it comes right over in Australia and that's the reason for it. In fact, Brisbane and Wellington Cairns are prominent in the area too. And you notice also, this is a copy taken of the satellites around the world that they keep track of. You can see the amount of people up there. These are all live satellites, I want to say. It's quite amazing how the networks, once they have what we call orbital data that's flying out there for each other. And that's the end of that tape. I'll tell you about the structure at this stage. You might like to put the stop, I'll let you go. I'll keep speaking. I want to talk about the schematic function of this structure of pine gap. I'm not in authority on this, so that anybody in here that's knows the area better than I would appreciate it more. However, it's a description. And it's broken into three sections, which is vitally important to understand. The first one, which is an interesting concept, is called a human intelligence section, called HUNINT, which is very strange. The next section, which concerns me, is called a photo-int section, and it's abbreviated photo-int, photography intelligence. And the last one is called SIGINT, which is basically an army terminology, or signals itself. Now, the SIGINT section is outside my church because it's changed. Everybody has a PC, every week something comes on the market news, so they're bringing stuff in all the time. However, the SIGINT section is the area that moves the most, and that involves the telecommunication side of things called TELINT, and the final part called radar-int, or RADINT. Now, there's other abbreviation, other items out there that are of importance, however, we don't know of these. Even though it's a joint facility, it's run by the Americans. Australians are there just as hangers-on. We have to play a very good role there, get very little information from it. That may change in the future from what I can gather. For instance, we've got now over 400 reference articles from Pine Gap about it. And there's a gentleman called Professor Des Borlock, his name is, he's the vanguard in getting this data organised. So things are changing, but at this time, things are still reasonably secret out there. The most important person out there is called the SPO, that's the Signal Processing Officer. He's probably one of the most important people out there. The next person that I want to speak to is called the NRO, which is the National Recon Officer. These gentlemen you do not play around with. If they say something to you, you do it. However, they swing a lot of power and they hit you a lot if you're in the right, do the right things, they'll hit you a lot of information. The SOPO and the NARO, which the Army speak about, are very important people, and you might like to note those abbreviations down for future reference because they do pop up, except nobody knows what a SOPO is and a NARO is. So just put that down as a future reference for you to look at. Now, I just want to go back to the analysis side of things. Just giving you a general indication of Pine Gap. The analysis, I might just say that the analysis, in my opinion, that I've received has been very good and pleasing to us. Normally we don't get anything, it's usually very poor. However, in this case we've been well assisted, and in my own personal opinion, it's been better than we've ever had in the past, and most researchers would be very happy with the information we've got. However, I'm not responsible for the data that's provided to us because we can't confirm things like time, location, and who presented it. However, I can virtually vouch for the authenticity and the quality of the research. You can't take my word for it, obviously, so my next recommendation is to do your own research. But if you bear with me in this regard and take my word for it and listen on, I think you'll be very happy with what's about to occur. Now let's get there. The area is reactive, as previously stated. There's lots of sightings out there. We don't chase all the sightings. I don't get involved with everything. However, on the 13th of October 1997, an ongoing observation was made in the Pine Gap area, just north of Pine Gap, not actually on the actual location. And if you'd like to put the next OHP up, thanks, Wendy. This OHP is my rough drawing from comments to this. You probably can't the scan jet hasn't produced it. You'll see I'll bring it to the right up at the top. These bearings are roughly done by myself and a friend of mine. We had a printout, but it was very vague. Notice the dots, the actual clotheslines are clotheslines, not the word. I mean, the actual black continuous lines are actually the tracks that we've been given. The dotted lines are the estimated departure tracks, or where the object has gone missing. Now, we concentrated on these main, even though there's a lot of activity at that stage, that these were the main ones that occurred. And as you noted, a lot of the activity didn't actually stem from Pine Gap. It actually came into Pine Gap in a contrary to what people believe, that most activity is caused by Pine Gap. In these cases, the data that's provided actually indicates the objects tracked into Pine Gap and the observation process. One of the events, 3 witnesses reported an object that hit the ground, and even though we looked at their statements that were shown to us, we weren't allowed to copy them. Even though the statements looked very vague at first, they proved quite positive to our surprise when we got out there. The reason for that was that there's nothing to describe the area out there, but because of their knowledge of the area, these 3 witnesses gave us a very good description of where the location was and what happened, and that proved to be quite good. Now, in this, the three witnesses, the ground contact report had an interesting case where it shows in one of the videos, I think it'll come out, shows in one of the videos they reported being shone, a spotlight being shone on them. So that's another important common event in UFO encounters. You'll see this flashing light of beams at directly at the camera or directly at them, and they noted on the ground, I think it might be the next slide. Can you show me that one? Can I just see that one? I'll just skip because I'm running out of time with it. This one, you can just show it, which is north of it, up the north, and up right. There's the Pine Gap area. You'll notice that the restricted area for fencing and basic fencing, the security, is very small, really. The reason for that is not known, but I think they're taking advantage of the terrain, that's all. However, it's got a lot of ground detection devices available in the area, but I know there's some protesting have gone onto the property, but there's an ex-security department that occurs when you get into the facilities. However, you can see it's a very small area when you think about it in the United States. In the US, they really closed down areas. Area 55 is a good example, and they'll wipe it off the map. We haven't caught up to it yet, but I'm sure we will in the future. Back to the subject. When I got involved, when now we've got involved, I flew up on the Wednesday after the actual 30th of October. Spent 5 days in the field up there. We took our GPS up there to do a grid search on the area, especially the ground contact area, which is our main concentration. We didn't know about videos at that stage, so we were interested about the ground contact. At the same time, the SAPO and the NARO was there. They escorted us around the area. However, I also met some friends of mine from DSTO. There was 3 of them up there that were collecting samples that were taken back to Point Wakefield in South Australia to be shipped to labs for analysis. Those chaps were dressed up for some unknown reason. We weren't, so I don't know what the worry was. So I presume they were a bit worried about the situation. However, they took samples and shipped them off to South Australia. Now, where they go from there is another secret outside my area. The samples we got went back to Monash University, and they were put on analysis, which I don't have here today. It's too much to talk about. However, maybe at a future conference I can speak to you about that area. But the main interesting point was the security, the cameras that were took the video that day, which I'm coming to now. And I just want to quickly step into the actual security cameras. They're very high resolution cameras. I don't know what make they are. However, they're based on a stable platform. It's a gimbal type platform that stabilises. It's very high technology type stuff. It's something that another 2 video on this. And don't start until I spill until I'm just loaded, that'd be great. And on the actual camera itself, the stability of it, it's very vital, these high resolution cameras have stability. And these cameras were placed, when the activity started, the cameras were taken out and placed in certain specific areas to try to capture the images that were recorded in the location. Now, it's not unusual to see UFOs up there. However, when they intruded on the actual airport and then onto the base itself, authorities got alarmed, so they went to have a bit of a look. However, if anything happened outside the area, they just leave it to other researchers to get involved. So it was surprising for them to actually have a look at it. I'm assured, even though no soundtrack was given to me, which is not uncommon, if we did the Knowles report, Paul Norman and others did the Knowles report, I don't think they did pretty footage. One of the first things they grabbed is the sound recording. I have been informed that there's no unusual anomaly EMF effects on the soundtrack that was provided with the camera crew, but I can't confirm, I can't verify that, but they must have looked at it for some reason. I might also state that there's, at first when you look at the video, there's a bit of atmospheric distortion. Some cameras, astronomy cameras can compensate for this, but these cameras will not. So if you're a technically minded person, please, take that into consideration. Also, some of these frames, there's lots of frames, we're only giving a few here. Some of them being computer manipulated for stability, just so that they don't wobble all over the place. So it makes your vision and makes the research a little bit easier. So that's a technique where they just take each frame and then recenter it again outside my temperature. I've seen it done, but it's very interesting stuff. Then they re-spool it back through again and it comes out quite stable. It's better than and also enhances it and also closes it up a bit. So if you just pull the first video through. I can't see it, I should actually. This is all my handiwork, by the way, but just to get a start. When it comes on, it's supposed to be only 15 seconds. You wouldn't like work out how time goes on this thing. You should press fast and slow. The scanning of these cameras is not very good. This is the, I hope it comes on. Right, this is the distant object, this is the night vision one. You can, from the right angle I'm on here, you can note that there's 2 objects there, one on the right, one on the bottom. You notice their movement, these are stabilised, so they're actually moving around each other, which is quite extraordinary. Now, this will commonly be seen up in, up north at Teague and up towards the north area. They've been seen in Queensland and all those areas, but these were captured at the early stage of the encounter. And interestingly about them, you can see them, they're wobbling around each other, moving in some coordinated fashion. And did you notice that flare occurring at that stage, as if a beam of light actually goes towards the camera, notice the beam there, and flares the camera through the lens. The actual objects are at some distance at that stage, tracking in. This is the only one we've been given to indicate the movement of the objects prior to them setting up for the close-up shots, which comes in the next video. There is another video which I can't show. I did bring it with me, but it actually shows another close-up. But you can see it's in partnership. There's two there. There is a third one, but it pops up now and then, and you can see they're quite prominent. You notice at the top there's, we thought it was cloud. Sometimes you notice cloud, you see a searchlight, and this is a club opening of a club, you think it's a searchlight. However, I've been assured there was no cloud that night. We've checked it out, and it's sometimes a beam of light of high intensity. The atmosphere is very dense in the Northern Territory. The moisture in the air will create a reflection back towards the camera. It is like a plasma shot. You know, sometimes you see a searchlight, you see the side of the searchlight. We believe it's like a jetting of light or a beam of some sort as it moves around the object. You'll see it at the top on most occasions. But you can see these objects are quite distant. They disappear and move quite a bit. But that's about the common sight you get. I mean, that's about the best we normally get. So when you something like that, you don't do very much. You can't do just the basic lights in the sky, down lights in the sky. But the next one proves quite good when we show that one. I'll just speak over what's going on. There was, from what our records given to us, there was 10 events recorded, which are of significance. The objects were solid in nature, three-dimensional. At the objects, when this fills off, I'll go to the next one shortly. When the objects were three-dimensional, they had a halo effect around it. We thought it was a camera effect, but there was a halo effect. The night objects demonstrated some coordination and some spin. And you see a blow up here as one gets closer. I think it comes up short. That was a distance shot. We go into a close-up. This is to demonstrate how it disappears and pops up again. There they are. Get a slit. Quite on there's a flash, a flare towards you. No object, but a flare. And this, I hope it's still in this one. Here's the other one. There's some movement. It's moving around. You can see the lot of common processes in these cases like playing with each other, afraid of coordinating moving with each other. It's just a case of light in the sky. But interesting formations that really strange which observe that as it comes. You see the flare in the top left-hand corner like a beam flare. It's very strange. It's like a cloud of some sort. But now this is a blow up of the closer one. Now it looks like it's flaring in the bottom. We thought the nigger was just like a flare in the lens or something like that nature. However, it's from the object itself. If you know that flare is comes slightly out of focus, it expands and this is flare too. But in this case, no. We've had a look at it and it's to do with the object itself. Now if you notice the band, if you've seen Photobies, New Zealand photographs, movies they took over New Zealand, there was in 1980 or something like that. I can't recall it now, so 78, that's right. These are very similar. That's why I was surprised how close they were. And in fact, in some of the vision on the CD-ROM was provided to us, you can see the object spinning in an anti-clockwise direction. You can see all these lines. If you look very careful, as they're blown up, you can see three rings in the centre. You have to look careful. I'm in the wrong position to show you in the first. But you probably see three rings in the centre. You see the banding, and there's a bit of atmospheric distortion and reduction, but that's how the object actually looks. You can see at the top it's like gassing off. It's gassing off some type of item and some sort. Now, even like now, you can't do that's what we call the vestige when you're at high intensity. However, unfortunately, night vision video is not very interesting. But in this case, the camera, the big camera, you're able to see a lot of data inside. And you can see the halo effect of a stream of a plasma of some sort. It's not raw lighting, it's put too long and moving around it. It's nothing actually to estimate. Usually, atmosphere distortion, you can see on the right and left there's some type of feature. It's got a classical shape to it, but there's some type of feature off the left and right of it. And yes, you notice it goes up and down. There's one stage, I think, on the series, it shows you and particularly it's slightly fade out and like two objects and pop right up again. But it's a classical system where it's constant. But it's 4 and 5 stuff to the rainbow to the probably because it's just a light in the sky. But if you're keeping in mind, you see a lot of data, you can do a lot of data. They were estimated during this one video, look at conditions of 20 metres to 35 metres wide, in diameter, sorry. They varied in distance. The closest I've been told it came to 3.2 kilometres to the camera, which is very close. So I haven't seen total close-up, but that's very good for a big camera. Any camera, no camera. You get to that distance, you can see very photographs. They did tell us that the source of light is very powerful. Notice the element shot. No clouds, and also note that there's industry objects, so they do stick out. You can see here, in that particular New Zealand, if you saw the New Zealand footage, it's very similar to them, I think you would agree. So it's pretty good. And you notice these close-ups going up, the consolidated and also out the contrast has got probably got, it's not easy, it's sort of possible around the edges. It's a very good quality. I might just say it's the vision that's seeking gas of some sort, if I'm described wrong. Video analysis said that they believe that there's a litho-mounted flame-rated spectroscope with tungsten, and they believed it, and they told us it was H2O, water negative. So if anybody's been in the UFO business, you know one of the things we were after, they seem to be after is water sources. So we've been now assured that the leading gas is off the side of H2O. So that's quite interesting. Now if anybody's involved with rocketry and like that, you like hydrogen and oxygen together to use your cabin flight plants, your basic high-level velocity rockets use H2O rock and get the hydrogen. So they may be in there. But I think the most important thing is that passing the stage that it's in. But using the spectroscope, the ungated spectroscope through the lens itself, which is, I believe it's the light passed back to the lens, after the lens into the spectrograph, like astronomy do, and they can take a reading at certain areas. They indicate us that it's H2O, so it's very important. Again, I might say, because the classical UFO shape, I'm still talking to the video on that, so I think I'll do that. There's further analysis has been done on the gas deep, but that hasn't been provided to me. However, I have been informed that they will give me that data, but I don't know if it's going to be released. It's very hard to sometimes get that data given to you, so I'm hoping that we can sometime in the future give it to you or print it up for somebody to look at. You notice the bands moving around, I just looked up here while I speak. Let's see, let's go on. I'll just let this run out for a moment. When I spoke to Sato and Nara, they were very excited. In fact, normally they're very quiet people, they don't really get involved with these incidentals to make their day even worse, so it's not a nice place to be all the time. But this is them fading out. Notice it seems to disappearing that it hasn't died in you, I've been told. It just seems to materialise in a sense. Much like Star Trek itself. But no, that's a high intensity there, very bright. Contrast that to the daytime, which is the main one I want to show you, which is the most important one. The most important one in this case. At night it has this high, this area that's so bright that it comes through. But in the daytime, the opposite occurs, as you will see. In fact, just recently I saw on one of the programs out of the United States, in Canada I think it was, about some gentleman doing analysis in the United States, company's name indicated that you might have seen today, I wasn't at the last one directly, about this dark area in some of these sightings in Mexico and the United States where it's absolutely black. Nothing seems to get out. It's pitch black. And the next video, which we'll screw up in a minute, this problem occurs, not on this interesting feature occurs. This is the which is likely to fill out or stop there. Okay, we'll go on the next one. Not the other one, speak over. There's we took an infrared ground, a infrared camera up to set up and look at one of the other spectrum. So using the visual spectrum is not very limited, and so we took an infrared camera up there. However, like always, we did the narrow wiring stuff, so we got nothing happened, unfortunately, which is pretty typical, but we wanted the infrared to be used. The people that live in the case were very good for us, the scientists in the case, they seem to work quite well for us. Now, this is the daytime. It's extraordinary footage. The daytime is very rare footage. It's showing, I'm sorry about that, you've got to watch the side of it itself, but it's very close to the camera, and at one stage, it's not this one, but the other one, you see the halo effect around the side, which we see in the night one, and you believe that's the H2O venting out of the object itself. Now it seems like there's two objects stuck together there, and notice that exactly the object how distracted. So it's extraordinary footage in that sense that it's the closest I've seen something of this quality. Again, one of the problems that you face when you see something like this is why can't I see all the holes in the portholes in that? But the explanation which we're driving towards nowadays is that it's perhaps a state of dimensional thing. In other words, there's something black, there's like a black hole in the atmosphere. This object occurs where light, it's either highly gives a whole lot of light or absorbs a lot of light. There's a great amount of extremes, it's not one or the other. And the daylight, it goes the opposite, it becomes very light and very dark, and then at night you get this glowing effect. So what the mechanism of operation is, I don't know, but you can see it's quite dark itself. I think in this one, I can't recall the last time, it was a couple of days ago, I think it rotates around. Yes, go ahead. Yes, that's to do with the actual object moving and the camera trying to keep pace with it. It's moving actually. It's a gimbal, it's like a satellite system, yes, so somebody's got to track it. It's being tracked like these bigger cameras. They have little devices, I can't remember what they call them. Technicians will be able to help with that, which they can track it through a viewfinder. However, if it gets close to the resolution, it can do a lot of shading. I believe it's been just slowed up for your shots, but you can see it's very close. And it's just, why I say good quality, if you do vision, we don't get very good quality photographs, videos of UFOs given to us, only night ones. However, this one, because it's quite a large object, you can actually get a lot of data out of it. I'd like to see the original tape because that would have much more, this is only standard VHS or whatever, so it's not very good quality, but the CD-ROM was a lot better. We put it on our computer with a standard 128 DPI display, and it came up a lot clearer. But you can see that the object is very dark in nature. As defined areas, it was quite impressive in my point of view, from a technical point of view, and to friends of mine who do this type of research, I thought it was very good, and a lot of work's going to be done on it, or the quality will be given, just to have a little edge, especially around the edge, to place some more stuff up. However, we didn't actually, we've been kind of privileged in the sense of getting this vision. If that wasn't the original case, the original case was made to do the groundwork to speak to the witnesses outside the area. But this has just been like an added bonus too, because it adds to the case itself. We've got actually not only witnesses to the case, the ground effect, we've got actually the object captured on video, and the daylight photography is always better than night photography. And as Bill indicated, I always think about videos because they're easy to manipulate and the camera work. However, if it comes from a reasonably good source and you can clarify that, you can be pretty sure that you're on a good thing there. So, like I said, I'm very happy with the data. It's not perfect, but one of the things you do discover when you do this research, that it's the reason why it's not perfect is because there's some type of, the phenomenon itself is somehow creating the illusion, or not the illusion, the camera's not able to pierce the reality that's going on inside the plasma area, this circle. So the camera, I think Fogan found out, so when they still take, they could see visually very easy, but when they put it off the camera, they found that the camera picked up a lot of anomalies. There was a lot of movement from the aircraft, but the interesting thing was that the data becomes, by the time you get back to the camera, becomes scattered badly. To their eyes, they were very happy with what they saw. They were extremely excited about the actual case, and it's very unusual. In the case, but our main investigation was made to call them to have a bit of a second opinion. In regards to when we arrived on the site, escort on the site, we were shown the area that was responsible for the area. Now, if you could just put the next page up, I'll just tell you the one, no, you pass that one, I might throw in the water. Go past the next one, that's right there. No, pass that one, and the next one you go by. This is the safe, that's one. This is the safe time as we're running out of time. I hope this comes out. This is done by, that's just a look, other way around. No, the arrow should has that. No, which one going? This one around, I think. I've got to look at it myself. Excuse me. It's still the other way around, I think. Yeah, keep doing it. Okay. This is I'm sorry, we use a laser jet, not a laser jet, inkjet we do all these OHPs, not because of, they're not very high quality, but you can notice there we can put this in, but there's, these were the areas affected from the ground. The arrow on the left is the tree that was affected, and the arrow on the right was where the other tree was affected. The two, like the mining sites in the north and south areas, or the north, west and south east area, they were the areas where the impact occurred. Now in that area, the soil had been pumped into like crystal stuck together, like on a nuclear site. You've ever seen those where they're fused together? That was quite easy. In fact, we took a tremendous amount of material out of there. We went to the other ones, but there was a lot of stuff there. But it was all fused together, and it's been looked at now why it was fused together. But the first opinion was from the people on the ground that we spoke to at that stage, from the other people that came on from the DSTO people, was that it looked like it had been heat fused by heat. So if you remember back to the original video, there's a lot of flaring coming to the camera. Now the witnesses on the, you can slide up, just slide up with your witnesses up. On the bottom there's three W's at the bottom. They were three witnesses that were collected by the authorities that were located in that area. This is just a little bit north of Pine Gap in the next valley up, which was also reported being very active on the main road. And that was their location there. So they were very close to the area, and they said that the object, the beam or whatever it was, like landing the mountains, so landing the landform, and when they went over there, the trees were all glazed and not split, which I'll show later on, but they'd been glazed, and the actual ground had all these deposits of fused silicon and things of that nature. Now where the other dots are, you can see, to show a point, you can see from the left under the arrow with the trees, there's these areas where as if somebody had actually fused this soil in this, like this snake bedding through the main impact area itself up to the next tree. You see as if the two trees are being joined together by a fused area. Again, no explanation, I come up with one to you. That's quite interesting, that it seems to be a controlled pattern of some sort. I could have brought a sample up for you. It's worth handling, it's very heavy, but it's as if it's been stuck together like a nuclear site, as if it's all been glued together. It's quite amazing, but the reason for the fusing, I don't know, the technical information will be produced later on, there's just melting points involved. However, it occurred in this ground area here, and it's actually extraordinary. So we picked up so much stuff and we were freely able to take it up. And so the other people too that were there, they picked up lots of things. I didn't even know this is not an accurate reproduction of the area, but in that it was in like this type of kidney-shaped format. But there was a lot of it there, I can tell you very much, and just in balls of about this size, some of them, quite interesting. Again, technically, we'll look at that later on, there's too much too much research to be done on it before we come to some conclusion, but it's definitely, I can give you a sample later on of some interest to show you what it's like. We've got the samples and they haven't taken it off at this stage. Also what we did, we had a Fairchild infrared cold thermal head camera with us, which we placed on one of the aircraft. We took it up, we wanted to measure it at 4,000, 10,000 nanometer wavelength, which is more important because you can see things that you don't normally see. That's in the infrared section of the spectrum. We took it up to a flight level 200, which is about 20,000 feet, stuck the camera into a porthole, which is on the aircraft, and there's a lot of shaking. You can still up number 5 video. We captured, went back into the area just north of Pine Gap and captured some ground vision. And you'll notice this is at night, yes, we do infrared at night because the sun affects the cameras dramatically. These are not gassed up. The old cameras were all gassed, but they used to have to thermally cool down the lens and the pickups. So these new ones, they're all highly technical systems now. They can run on cold out and get the gas inside of it, run on cold room temperature. However, you must run them at night. You have to take a cover off them, and they must be run at night. And this is a tree. I've got to see it. So this is a tree. This is I'll show you this and I'll tell you a favour. You can see here, it's not lighting so I'll show you why. It's pretty big snip. You see this like it's running down. We saw it on a few other trees, so it must have been, but this was on the two main trees. It's like this glaze. Can you see the glazing effect on the tree itself? And it's like this line that ran up the tree. The samples were taken, and I didn't have a link over along to the core sample to look at itself how far it went inside. But they took the core over the white section. This is the thermal image. Took the core over the white section, the dark section, and other samples above the tree. Now the shape is new to us. We're hand holding the camera to a port under the aircraft at the left loading bay of the aircraft, quite high. And you can see the thermal image itself is on the area. There's the area right there. Yes, so it's coming. In fact, when we put it over here, we thought we'd have to. We put the GPS off when we left out of Alice Springs. We climbed to 20,000. Oh right, too late now. Filming brilliant. Actually, I'm probably a bit naive on it. How do I start this thing up? Come on here. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's the areas up here. You can see all the cold area here. This is all thermally gassed. You have to wait around about midnight, by the way, because it takes a while for the heat to actually leave dissipate back in the atmosphere. It's a standard process. And you don't not much cloud around. But you can see this thermal activity area right here. Some areas is a very hot area. And if you look at it, you can see there's a lot of activity there, and it works quite well within the area. It's not perfect data, but it gives you a good idea that we're looking at an active area and something that occurs there. So it's vitally important. There is more to that, but that's just a simple process. We don't run out of time. Yes, the new cameras that we've got now, Martin, yes, they're so good. In fact, they can go lower, in fact. But yes, we work in a degree, especially at altitude. You've got to understand the atmosphere, H2O, a walking atmosphere affects infrared cameras. So we work, Martin, just one of the very important points, we work in increments of 1 degree. However, the camera, if I brought the camera into you and wanted to take a photograph of you, I could actually reduce into a smaller percentage of it's worked on Kelvin, by the way, not even Celsius, it's worked on a Kelvin base, but you can dial it into a lower Kelvin ratio and get much more detailed information. But at high altitude, 1 degree is ample. In fact, I think it's still up to about 5 degrees differential between the layers, but 1 degree came out quite well for the night. It was a very good night, but you've got to be worried about you've got to measure the ground temperature, and also monitor the atmospheric temperature and then dial in that information, because it does compensate for that information. But it's great information, gives a lot of research. Yes, go ahead. that was about, we went on the Wednesday, so it was about a day and a half after. It wasn't that long after, it was still hot. But that's not uncommon. If any of you work with infrared, you can leave a palm print on a door for quite a long time. It's surprising. You can also, the thermal imaging system works in a different frequency, so once you start the atomic structure vibrating, it can go for a very long time. It can be rotating. And another thing you might know too, which we think occurs, is a chemical reaction occurring. It may take days for that chemical reaction to actually clear out. What we believe has occurred, rather than like a heat source like a palm tree where it slowly dissipates with the heat in place there, we believe a chemical reaction is taking place. Do you understand what I'm getting at? It's not a heat source being laid there, it's a chemical process occurring. I don't want to blind you with this because you have to. It's a lot of information, but it's quite interesting because it tells you that a different process going on, some activity going on in the soil itself. And it also quite hot there to see if you're going there. This could be going for days later on. So it's something chemical going on in the soil rather than a friction occurring on the soil. That's a very good question too. Thanks for that. Let me see. How's my time going? Just about right actually, man. In fact, I'll just put it down at the moment. Not to be brought to fact, but yes, the impact is done. I had a copy of this, I did have a statement. The impact is quite unusual. The impact is a thin object that's full of light, basically 15 percent electric speed, and like you're seeing down those potholes, along from one to the other, then struck the ground, then like the hit shade up and hit the ground again, and then it's still off again. And there's enough for them to feel like a blast effect. It scared the life out of them, but there's enough to extract that this person has taken was physically not metaphysical type, but a physical thing. Metaphysical thing actually occurring, I'm not going to explain that. So it's just to this point of like a little I can't see that it's just a minute, the next rally up. That's a good place. Just stay on this road. I really don't know. I don't actually know the range of them. I must just say this, I travel a lot, but you don't get to know the range of properties. There's slightly, I have to understand the type of these, but it will take me to try to feel clear. If you're outside the security area, just go into the lift gallery, that's my bit. Don't have to see if you know what I mean, that's a bit I use. So just more for the side itself. Okay, so really cool, yeah, I see this is important. We did some magnetic information. I just want to show you one thing before we conclude on with this time. Could you just filter there for the lightning strike? You'll see a gentleman has a tree that's broken. There you go, that's one, put that one up. This is courtesy of Dick Smith, so I'd like to thank Dick Smith. This is from Australian Geographic, number 48, October, December 1997. Pages, I think this was page 66, and it hasn't scanned up to at all. It's not very clear. However, you can see that's a lightning strike on a tree, and every tree I've seen that's hit by lightning creates that type of, what happens, the lightning superheats the cell, the water in the cell, and the expansion rate is so rapid because of the amount of voltage running through the tree, the tree just absolutely erupts. In this case, nothing like that at all. It was all glazed over. So the mechanics of that I really don't know. There is more information, but I think I'll take a few questions, but I will stop there. That's in the video. You might like to ask some questions, I'll stop there. Okay, right. So I haven't got to do a very rapid bill. It was like I put the protein and then bang, bang, and off it went. Just simple as that. But in the statements that were provided to us, there were very vague statements. So very, very vague. But yes, it was like a object. It's just like an aircraft coming in, hitting the ground, and disappearing back off into the atmosphere again. So it was a very short, rapid movement. No debris, just all this glazing effect around the area. No debris at all. In fact, that's a good question. I forgot about that. We went looking for something like metallic or something like that, and we found nothing. That was my first my first action, if there's something grazes around like an aircraft that leaves a lot of aluminium around or some L-clad or something like that, or zinc chromate, nothing at all. Yes, locals, Korean people, so very good witnesses. You've got to understand they're very shy, very shy and they're very good witness in our opinion, and they gave a very simple description, but a very good one. Yes, I was shown to them, yes, both people, Seppo and Naro, were interviewed themselves, yes. The reason for that is that they want to get a full statement from them, but they didn't offer very much detail, which is not uncommon anyway. Still, because I would be pretty well scared, I'm going to describe it in the smallest detail as possible. There's a question over there? Through my connection in the army, I'm still in the army, or friends in the army. I do a lot of my research comes through army process. Again, there's something else. They're looking for other ideas too. They've got a very fine. The Army, the Defence Force has got a very good scientific department. It's gigantic if you're into it. It's worth looking up. But they're always looking for other things, especially in these cases where they're looking for other ideas. However, the main thing is that from the outside, I'm just a basic civilian type of thing. They're those looking for other ideas. About 6 size, Bill. They vary in size, but most of them are about 6 size. And it's pretty heavy, they were actually compacted like in the fusing place, they're quite round. Didn't have a uniform, not in a spherical sense, but as if the, like in a shot, ball shot powder, a drop ball. But once you heat it up, as a different gravity, out of gravity field, it goes in a circle. I would like that. Quite amazing. Like the minute, I don't know that. I'm not too good. I don't know. It's quite unusual. I thought it was sampled in it too, so I thought yes, that is done. We had a virus found on the site, so there's nothing at all. But I think that most of the researchers have taken a virus found on the site really fine, apart from background radiation and that kind of stuff. There was nothing special on the site at all. So it was quite interesting. I haven't done that, and it's a simple process. All I've got to virtually do is stick it in some water, and, but I haven't done that. That's being done at the moment. I can get that done when it comes back. I can tell you they were very, very, very heavy. I think it's to do with the condensing of the matter being, compressed. In other words, in sand, there's a lot of air in sand. You sit down and you can pick up the deals in an alley or out in the bush, and the sand will run through your hands, and this will disappear. As if it had been degassed. What I'm trying to get at is, as if all the gas had been moved, they got just like that. Look at that move. That's exactly right, yes. I'll get some look at that. What's that? If you break in the mic, how about that? There you go. I'll just take 2 more last questions. Yeah, pick up. No, they're not. The one that crashed was not recorded. I must have stated that. However, the events are over a period of time, so no, nothing to do with that. In fact, the one that hit the ground didn't occur that night. But the general consensus amongst the group that I was with, and not this particular authorities, was that they were all related. There was either a group of objects in the area or just the two doing the mucking around. So that was my. I think there's one over there. There's a left over there. No, the zoom factor varies. I haven't got that data. In fact, we asked for that data, and I believe the camera on board has they have a digital ability to zoom, so it can be anything. Optical, I think, goes to about, depending on the camera, I think I'll tell you, optical goes from up to 18 and 20 zoom, but after up to 200 or 300 zoom, I think, depending on the lens you got on board, I think the zoom is up to 200, so I think it'll be in around about the 200 power. Oh yes, And also, I must say, a lot of this stuff is seems to be being handled with, but that's not uncommon anyway. But the Zoom can vary depending on public. You're going with optics or with the digital side of things. But it doesn't depend on how you don't have the data. I believe the lens can be, I did ask, the lens could be taken off so that it changes the lens. Is that correct? It's verified. So obviously you can take the lens off. Now where the scope goes, I have no idea, but I've been shooting a little pop down, maybe sample a bit of big thing, have it done, and just extract it on the side and extract the light off they want to do the assembly. And there's one more down here before I go to the last one. Good. No, I don't know what's on the base of there's nothing out of springs at all at night, there's nothing available for radar, so there's nothing at all. I don't know what's going on with the base. I'm not just, but nothing to do with the base itself. The activity that goes on in there is their business. But yes, there's plenty of radar down there, but it's over the actual feature up to the north of them. But I presume that's something going on. And the last one. It's not basically, that's a very good question. I think they would help you in the sense that, it's a good question, I can't explain it to you because my impression working with the Defence Force is that even though we think they're too hard and what, they're really naive in what's going on with the process. We just assume that they're manipulating all this stuff. But they're usually yes, it is a strange, I'll give you that. I think you're handing out a video. In fact, when we went up there, we were going for soil samples, and when we got the video, I thought, stirred up, there's something going on, But my reading of the situation was, I felt quite happy with that. That's why I put it as just a cautionary part. No, no, that we were told it was different night. However, there was video. I don't know what the sequence is, but the actual events were all related to each other. It was like a lot of activity on the period. But yes, the sequencing of events is very vague at this moment. Nothing's been given to me on it. However, the important part to it is that they were happy. We were given this data later on. So you never know. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Sorry? We came to the main gate first, yeah. Yes. Sorry, what's that? The land site, the impact area, yes you can. No, it's all gone.